I'll be seeing you in time to say goodbye. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't know, so I told him I wasn't sure if those were the ones, but I just confirmed with her. Yeah, yeah. She ready to go? All right. What's that? Oh, okay, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, our service today, honoring the life of Wolf Ascher, will be performed by Rabbi Michelle Pascal. Before we begin, if you could please just take a moment and silence your cell phones. And tell me the cantor's name? Suzanne Mahler. And cantor Suzanne Mahler as well. Rabbi?
It is with sadness in our hearts that we come together this afternoon to have this funeral and memorial service for Wolf Ascher. We gather as family and friends, community, it's amazing, and we gather as God's people, conscious of others who have died and the frailty of our own existence on earth. And we come to comfort and support one another in our common loss, and most importantly, to celebrate a beautiful life. I'd like to begin with the reading from our sacred scriptures from Psalm 121. Everyone should have a prayer booklet in the first row there underneath the, look underneath. There you go. And it's page 16. So we'll start with page 16. We read a beautiful passage. I will lift up mine eyes unto the mountains. From whence shall my help come? My help cometh from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel doth neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall keep thee from all evil. He shall keep thy soul. The Lord shall guard thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and forever. And as we start, I like to start with just a personal, we're getting a special phone call. It's a message. As we start, I like to start with just a personal prayer to put some words to some of the feelings. And I think this is helpful. Oh God, in this hour of grief, we lift our hearts to you for comfort and hope. Give us strength to carry on in the days ahead. And Wolf, although it is your destiny to return, it is ours to remain and remember. It is for you to embrace the all. It is for us to struggle with the parts. It is for you to be and for us to become. You will not be forgotten. You will always be loved. And now it is time for you to move on. Go in peace, and may your soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. And we say together, Amen. And probably the most well-known of all of the Psalms is the 23rd Psalm. It's on page 7. You'll recognize it. The custom is to read these beautiful words meant to offer comfort and consolation. Sometimes we don't know what to say. Nothing we say is adequate, but we have these sources to go to give us some comfort. So we can join together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And there's one other passage which I like to include. It's pages 4 and 5. It's kind of a psalm mashup, a few selections. I'll chant a little bit in Hebrew. The English I have is a little bit more modern. And I think it's really nice. It has the words, teach us to number our days, to use them wisely. And boy, is Wolf an inspiration for how to live life and how to live your days and make each day important and count and so forth, as we'll hear. So I'll chant a little bit and we'll read I'll have the modern English. Adonai ma'adam v'teda'ehu ben enosh v'techashvehu. Adam lahevel dama yamav ketzel over baboki atzitz v'chalaf la'erev yemolel v'yavesh. Tashev enosh adaka v'tomer shuvu v'nei adam. Lu chachmu yaski luzot yavinu li'acharitam. Ki lo v'moto yikach hakol lo yered acharav kevodo. Podeh Adonai nefesh avadav v'lo yeshmu kol hachosim bo. Lord, What are we that you have regard for us? And what are we that you take account of us? We are like a breath. Our days are as a fleeting shadow. In the morning we flourish and grow up like grass. In the evening we are cut down and wither. So teach us to number our days, to use them wisely, that we may acquire a heart of wisdom. May our days of sorrow, the times we have suffered, be matched with days of joy. May we come to recognize some lasting purpose in our lives, and indeed accomplish something worthy of remembrance. And one other reading which I'd like to share, and then we'll have some eulogies, some stories, some things about Wolf's life. And I'll just read this passage. These words were written over 2,000 years ago by a Jewish wisdom teacher named Joshua ben Sirach. And I like to share this because I think it's helpful. Fear not death. We're all destined to die. We share it with all who ever lived, with all who ever will be. Bewail the dead. Hide not your grief. Do not restrain your mourning, but remember that continuing sorrow is worse than death. When the dead are at rest, let their memory rest, and be consoled when the soul departs. Seek not to understand what is too difficult for you. Search not for what is hidden from you. Be not overoccupied with what is beyond you, for you have been shown more than you can understand. As a drop of water in the sea, as a grain of sand on the shore, are a person's few days in eternity. The good things in life last for limited days, but a good name endures forever. O God, you redeem our souls from the grave. You are the rock of our salvation. Forsake us not in time of trouble and days of distress and desolation. Help us to endure, O Lord, for we place our hope in you. I just want to share a couple of thoughts, and then we'll have the speakers come up. And I'll start just by framing what I want to say with an opening. It's from a longer poem, but this is the first part. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, but life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage, a going, a growing, from stage to stage, from birth to death to life everlasting. And certainly Wolf encountered many journeys and stages in his life, and he truly was a remarkable man. We met at least 25 years ago, and he was friends with my dad. They attended the Memorial Day tributes together. They had that in common. And also he and Nubia became members of our synagogue here in Simi Valley. And we invited him to share his and his family's story of escape from Germany in 1938 after Kristallnacht, and how they were part of the Jewish people who were able to take refuge in Shanghai, China. And it was 10 years because they didn't get their visas to come to America till like 1949 or 1950, and they had to sail from China to San Francisco. And I will always remember his moving presentation so very vividly. He was an excellent speaker, and the story of his life before and after this was profound. He even celebrated his bar mitzvah in China at the Ohel Rachel Synagogue, and I know about that from him, right? And despite those difficult years, Wolf was able to immigrate to this country and accomplish so many special things. And what an honor to serve in the American military. He was a great success, personally and professionally. He worked hard. He lived his best life. I even ran into him. This is a small world. This was, when you live in these areas, it's a small community. He was getting both knees replaced on the same day. I happened to run into him that day. So I know all those things. He was a runner. But I always admired him for his accomplishments. He was positive, upbeat, and very smart. He and Nubia had so much fun together, and he was very proud of you when you studied Hebrew and became a bat mitzvah in your 50s. Wolf was a real gentleman. He was generous, he was kind, and it's a German and a Yiddish word. He was a true Mensch. A Mensch means a man in German, but in Yiddish it means a really kind, decent human being. He was a Mensch. The family will share some stories, as I said, and memories about their father, grandfather, relative. There'll be a reception after, so there'll be time for more stories. And while these past few years have been especially difficult for you, dealing with Wolf's declining health, I know you each did everything you could to help take care of him, which was your gift to him for all that he did for you. And I know he was deeply appreciative of your love, your care, your strength. And so to your wonderful husband, father, grandfather, relative, and friend, may he be remembered for his kind heart and strong spirit. And a person is valued for the legacy they leave, the values they teach, and the ethics they embody and espouse. I know Wolf was deeply admired. He was part of this community. He was respected and loved, and he certainly was a man of strength and courage and an understanding of life. And when you think of Wolf, think of his love of life. And we can think of the Hebrew word, the word l'chaim. L'chaim is from the word chai. Chai means life. And we think of the word l'chaim, to life. We honor his life, we celebrate his life, and we think about what he added to our lives and what he has taught us about life. And may his life always be for a blessing. And so today we honor and pay tribute and share cherished memories for Wolf Ascher. And we have our speakers so far are Mike and Juan and Angie, and we'll see what happens after that. See how we go. Is that order okay? Yeah, come on up. I'll sit here.
Hi, everyone. So when I talk about my dad, I'll refer to him as Poppy because that's what we all called him. And anyhow, so I'm gonna start with something that was a little humorous story because Poppy loved to laugh. His laugh was contagious. He was sarcastic, sometimes at his own expense, sometimes at yours, but he loved a good joke. So Poppy was very strategic. He was very orderly. He liked to plan out things to attack a problem. And so when he would come over to visit us, and we would go out maybe sometimes to a restaurant, or one time he took all 5 of us to Baskin-Robbins ice cream to get some ice cream. And the way he would have us all order and get out of there quickly is he would sit us all down in ascending order of age, Yvonne, then me, then David, then Greg, then Jessica. You go up to the counter, you say your order, you sit down, and then it's the next person. Sounds foolproof, and it was great till we got to Jessica. Jessica, God bless her, she wanted to take her time. She wanted to think about, what she really wanted to do. That's why she's a great vet. She's not impulsive like me. And anyhow, she was thinking about it. 15 minutes later, the line's out the door. One guy is just chattering, and because he has to go to the bathroom so bad, but he doesn't want to lose his place in line. And he's saying, "Please, little girl, just order some ice cream." And Jessica says, "Okay, I got it down to 2 flavors: mint chocolate chip, or the 32nd flavor of the month, Black Beauty chocolate, because I love horses." But Poppy being so patient, he was so patient with all of us, said, "It's okay, Jessica. ordering ice cream is harder than algebra. And he was just so patient. He was loyal. Poppy was very loyal. And if you did a job for Poppy, or you worked for Poppy, you had somebody that, you know, he would always take care of. As long as you did an honest day's work. I mean, he had Daniel and Leanne with him over 20 years, right? He took care of people, and he respected people as long as you gave respect, and he was practical. He was simple, yet he was elegant. He wasn't a fancy dresser. He dressed elegantly, but he knew how to live life, and he knew how to enjoy things. He taught me how to save, along with my other dad, Bob Limley, and I saved a lot till I got married, and then just kidding. But he also played by the rules. One other little story, you know, he took all 5 of us to Disneyland one time, along with Bob Lumley, I remember, and we back then there was one price to get into the park, and then you paid for the attractions anyhow, and there was a different price point if you were over 12, or maybe if you were under 5, it was free. And Yvonne was maybe 12, but she looked 11. So Bob was going to save a few bucks by just saying Yvonne was 11 and maybe Jessica was free. But Poppy insisted, no, you have to follow the rules. If Yvonne is 12, she pays it. And it wasn't to save money. It was just because he was a man of principle. It was the principle of things. And he did things by principle. He did them the right way, and I can respect that. I didn't always follow that path, but I can respect it. And he was just a good man. And I'll just end with his greatest trait was probably his kindness. He was one of the kindest people I've ever known. And quick story to talk about that. I was probably about 9 years old, and it was the first time I flew by myself. I went to Shreveport, Louisiana. He was stationed there, and I was dealing with, a lot in my life, and anyhow, one of the way I dealt with anxiety and stress is once in a while, I wet the bed. Something that happened. And anyhow, the first night with Poppy, I had an accident. And instead of yelling me in the morning and making me feel worse, he just calmly changed the sheets and said, "That's okay, Mike. I'll just make sure that I don't give you, a lot to drink, and make sure you go to the bathroom." And he was just so kind. And it actually, it made me closer to him, and made me want to confide in him, and I did as I got older, and that's how he helped me through something. We didn't talk about our feelings a lot, but yet through his actions, he was just so kind, and I'll never forget that. So please, anybody that would like to honor, please stand up, and I'd like to salute and honor Lieutenant Colonel Wolf Ascher, a great man who will be sorely missed, an officer and a gentleman, a true gentleman.
Ooh. Hi, I'm Juan. I'm Bobby Wolf's nephew. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. I know people have come from far and wide to be here for Nubia and show up for her, and I know she appreciates it and she's happy you're here. Thanks, Mike, for speaking. I know similar experience with Wolf. Wolf, like Mike mentioned, Wolf's kindness has changed my life. I know at a time in my childhood when I was going through some dark times, I lived with Wolf in Nubia, and he changed my life. He helped turn things around, and I know there's other people here too that could probably share a similar story of Wolf's kindness and Wolf's discipline and Wolf's structure, helping them and putting them on the right track and changing their life. The picture right here is Wolf's 90th birthday, and I'm very glad I got a chance to tell him in person how I felt about him and how much I loved him and how much he meant to me and how much he changed my life. And I know he got sick, and I'm glad I had an opportunity to be there for him and to show him love and show him kindness in the same way he showed me. It's interesting, there's some seeds he planted a long time ago that I'm just starting to see kind of the harvest where you go through things, and even after his passing, there's habits and things that I do that it's because of Wolf. Like, I know there's a lot of things we had to do to get ready for today and let people know what happened and notify people, and that's something I learned from Wolf. Just like Mike said, go through a list of things like, hey, we've got a way of doing things, and these are how things are done, and that's something that I learned from Wolf, and I cherish. And this is hard. I know this is hard for a lot of people here, but I just want to thank him and use his example and kind of share that kindness moving forward as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Angie Velasquez. I'm Nubia's niece, Juan's sister. And Nubia has asked me to share some words from her heart to Wolf. And before I do, I would also like to thank you for coming and also thank all of those who are joining us over the internet, who couldn't be here in person, but who wanted to be with us and be with Nubia, and they had her on their hearts. Y un saludo muy especial a todos los amigos en Colombia que están pensando en Nubia y que de todo corazón quieren estar con ella. Gracias por su presencia de lejos. So here's Nubia's letter and final goodbye to Wolf. Dear Chochito, there are moments in life that you can never forget. The first for me was when I saw you for the first time. And the second is today, when I have to say goodbye. When I saw you for the first time, I thought I died and met God himself. You were so elegant, with such a brilliant mind. You were also so aloof. I immediately saw the challenge of winning your affections, and I fell in love at first sight. You gave me your card in case I wanted to call, and I'm so glad I did. Even though I knew you didn't yet feel a thing for me. I spent 9 years of my life with no dignity and no self-respect, convincing you that I was the right woman for you. I repeatedly asked you to marry me, to no avail. You insisted that you would be my fiancé the rest of your life. But all my begging exhausted you. And finally, you said yes. And I do it again. Because even though we're so different as the sun and the moon, we had a great life together. You were so loyal to your traditions and beliefs that your example persuaded me to convert to Judaism. The great day that you put the tali over my shoulders, you whispered in my ear, "Follow the 10 Commandments, and you'll be safe." For these 43 years, we were teachers to each other. You taught me how to be a woman of my word. You introduced me to classical music, jazz, traveling, and the good life. Your sense of humor was contagious, and a laugh always helped us resolve our conflicts. Because I knew you were upset when you called me Pisano, and when I called you Wolf, you knew I was. But we agreed never to go to bed angry with one another. We learned to negotiate, and that was the secret to our happiness as a couple. And I taught you a thing or two as well. I taught you that after you say, "Hello, how are you?" you should ask, "Who are you?" I wanted you to learn to take an interest in others. You told me, "I just don't care." It took you some time, and it wasn't easy for you at first, but you eventually learned this so well that you became a father figure to 12 young people, and they love and admire you so very much. They go so far as to attribute their success in large part to you, even though you were at times so strict with them. In this way, you filled my need to be a mother, and for that, I'm eternally grateful. I know that the day you married me, you became an officer of an army of one, me. It was very hard for me, and I told you that I'd give you my devotion, but not my personality. In the end, you did let me be me and accepted my craziness as part of the package. We traveled all over the world, and we always went looking for the little cafes. And like the Tony Bennett song says, I'll be seeing you in the old, familiar places, every corner and every sunrise and sunset. And I will keep looking for you in those little cafes that you loved, longing for you to be there by my side. Because of all the things that you taught me, the one thing you didn't teach me was how to live without you. And that hurts so deeply. I adore you, and I will adore the many memories you left me with. And now, with profound sadness, I have to say, bye, Chochito. Thank you.
That was beautiful. I think we'll save, for tributes and all of that. Oh, you have some, come on up, and then the rest I think we'll do at the reception. Here, come sit here, Suzanne.
I'm Jake, Wolf's grandson, but I called him Grandpappy. So I have a vivid memory when I was 10 years old. I'm in the car with my mother, very upset about something, and she turns to me and says, "I learned this from my father. If it's something that will still be worth crying about in 5 years, then you can cry about it now. If not, consider letting it go." Turns out there are not a lot of things worth crying about, and a few important things that are. Many of the character traits I consider my greatest strengths came from Grandpappy, both through my mother and directly by example. Pragmatism, punctuality, dedication, commitment, attention to detail. Every day I live by one of his core ideals: let's make a plan. Responsibility was something Grandpappy instilled in my brother and me at an early age. Every year he took one of us somewhere in the world. These were not mere vacations, but rather opportunities to educate, inspire, and shape us into exemplary citizens. This included sensible travel planning, an appreciation for art and culture, and perhaps most difficult of all his skills to master, a knack for charming, beautiful women. In Austria, we went to the same 4-star restaurant where he dined with my mother at 16. Fork in the left hand, knife in the right, cut, take a bite, no need to switch the fork back and forth American style. While Grandpappy was exceptionally patriotic, his etiquette was firmly European. Much has been said and will be said about Grandpappy's story. He came to this country a refugee of 2 revolutions, and with great persistence constructed a career while putting himself through college. But Grandpappy was never one to sit back on his laurels. When my brother and I threatened to overtake him in math, he enrolled in college algebra, partly to help with our homework, partly to taunt us, and partly because he simply enjoyed the challenge. I'll close with another vivid memory, a softer one. I'm waiting for Grandpappy to arrive at my house in Monterey. He comes through the door, the perfunctory hugs and kisses and welcomes. And then without asking, without speaking really another word, he moves to the kitchen table and he begins to set up for our ritual. He opens his leather case of immaculate stainless steel tools, lays them out one by one. He warms a basin of water, and I sit next to him and I let him soak my hands in the water. And then meticulously, and with great loving attention, he trims my nails. And then he cleans each cuticle. After all 10 fingers, he combs my hair. Then he holds both my small hands in his, inspects them intently, looks into my eyes, and nods with approval. And for me, that's Grandpappy.
Cathedral bells were tolling, and our hearts sang on. Was it the spell of Paris or the April dawn? Who knows if we shall meet again? But when the morning chimes ring sweet again, sweet again, I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe, the park across the way, the children's carousel, that chestnut tree, the wishing well. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you.
There's a passage in the book of Proverbs. The Hebrew words are Ner Adonai Nishmat Adam. The light of the Lord is the spirit or the soul of a person. And they'll give you a candle. When you get home, you light the candle and it'll burn for a week. And as a light burns pure and bright, so may the memory of Wolf brighten and purify our lives. The light of life is a finite flame, but the light of a soul cannot be extinguished. Like a candle that we light, it burns, it glows, it radiates warmth and beauty, but then it fades and is no more. But we do not despair. We are more than a memory vanishing in the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. And there's a very beautiful prayer in the end of the chapel service here. It's pages 20 and 21. And so we're going to do the Michelli. We're going to do that one after the other song at the end. I didn't forget. So we'll do this beautiful prayer, the El Malei Rachamim prayer, and then we'll have the kind of the symbolic part of it in English. So it's customary to stand. If you can, I'll ask you to please rise. And I'll do it in Hebrew first. Wolf's Hebrew name was Eliyahu, right? Eliyahu. So I'll do it in Hebrew, and then we'll read the English together. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamtze Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, Im Kedoshim Utehorim, Kezohar Harakia Mazhirim, Et Nishmat Eliyahu ben Yosef, Shehalach le'olamo, Began Eden, Tehei Menuchato, Lachen Bal Harachamim, Yastirehu Beseter Kenafav le'olamim, V'yitzor b'yitzor chaim et nishmato, Adonai hu nachalato, V'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo, V'nomar Amen. And let's read the English together, the bottom of page 21. O God, full of compassion, who dwells on high, grant perfect rest beneath the sheltering wings of your divine presence, among the holy and pure, shine as the brightness of the firmament unto Wolf Ascher, who has gone to his eternal home. Author of mercy, bring him under the shelter of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life. May you be his inheritance. May his repose be in peace. We say together, Amen. And everyone can be seated. And I thought this would be the nice time to sing the other song. So we did the kind of the send-off in Hebrew, and now we'll do it in English with this beautiful song, Time to Say Goodbye.
When I'm alone, I dream of the horizon and words fail. Yes, I know there's no light. In a room where the sun is absent, you, if not here with me. Out the window, show everyone my heart, which you set alight. Enclose within me the light you encountered on the street. Time to say goodbye. I'll go with you to countries I never saw and shared with you. Now, yes, I shall experience them. I'll go with you on ships across seas, which I know no, exists no longer. It's time to say goodbye. With you I shall experience them. When you are far away, I dream of the horizon, and words fail. And yes, I know that you are with me. You, my moon, are here with me. My sun, you are here with me. With me, with me, with me, with me. Time to say goodbye. I'll go with you to countries I never saw and shared with you. Now, yes, I shall experience them. I'll go with you on ships across seas, which I know exists no longer. With you I shall experience them again. I'll go with you on ships across seas, which I know exists no longer. With you I shall experience them. I'll go with you. You and me.
Rabbi will conclude the service at graveside, and in just a moment, we'll be exiting the chapel and proceeding to the graveside. We'll be exiting through the doors here to your right, following behind the casket bearers and the immediate family. Because of the close proximity to the graveside, we're going to have a walking procession following behind the coach to the graveside. Following the service, the family invites you to join them at the vineyards here in Simi Valley. I will have a flyer with the address at the graveside if you need it, but that is at the vineyards here in Simi Valley. Would those who have been asked to serve as casket bearers please come forward at this time? you.